Hey everyone, I am back with another video. I've been wanting to film this video for a while because I just want to tell you about what I have been through to create this juxtaposition collection. And I also feel like this will be quite helpful for people that want to create their own clothing collection, and just some of the things that I had to do and my process. And yeah, because it was a long process and it was stressful. Wow, I didn't even introduce myself. So for those that don't watch my channel, my name is Sadie G, and this channel is all about me taking you guys along for the journey with me as I build my clothing brand, and trying to drop tips and tricks and gems and all that kind of good stuff. And in today's video, I'm gonna just be talking about the process of me creating my juxtaposition collection, my clothing brand collection. So yeah, let's get into this video. I am so happy to let you guys know that this video is sponsored by Anna Money. Anna Money is a business, account and tax app aimed at small businesses. The app allows you to track the money going in and out of your business straight from your phone. It's got invoicing software, which means the Anna app helps with your cash flow by creating and chasing invoices for your business. With Anna Money, you have more control over your bookkeeping, keeping all receipts and invoices neat. Eventually, this will help you save more money on taxes. And you can also say goodbye to paper receipts, because all you need to do is use the Anna app to take a picture of your receipt and it will sort through all the receipts of your business. There's 24/7 support, 10-minute response time, and live chat with people in the UK. So be sure to check out Anna Money today. All the links and stuff will be in my description. But yeah, let's talk about my collection. Let's get into it. So this collection, my recent collection, Juxtaposition, I will link it down below so that you can click and check out my website. It took me just over a year to get from deciding what products I was going to make to actually having the products on a website ready to sell, which was a lot longer than what I anticipated. I did not expect it to take that long, but there were quite a few roadblocks, quite a few delays, and yeah, a lot changed from when I first started creating the collection to the collection that I actually ended up releasing. So I actually found the manufacturer that I currently work with back in October of 2020, and since then we have exchanged over 1,000 emails, back and forth over the year, just about this collection. So prior to contacting her, I was contacting quite a lot of manufacturers because I was looking for a new manufacturer at the time, and I'd already produced a PDF of exactly what I wanted in my collection. So what I was emailing these manufacturers was basically, I'm looking for somebody to make this. And at that point, I had sourced some of the fabrics, and I was in a position where I was like, listen, I want these made. I have already sourced the fabrics. Let me know the price. That was the position that I was in at that particular moment in time. But as you will see, as my story progresses, you see a lot changed. I had also sourced digital patterns to use and created patterns to use. So I'd cut out quite a lot of some of the things that needed to be done. And those were just things that I had been doing over the course of, I would say, late summer of 2020. So when I decided to go with this particular manufacturer, because I had been speaking to quite a few, I sent over my patterns to her just to see whether it was something that she could work with, and she could, which, saved me a lot of time. Well, so I thought it would, but it saved me time and money in that sense, because producing patterns can be very costly. With my designs, she had quite a lot of questions to ask me, because at that point I didn't send her a tech pack which had all the details in, which meant that there was a lot of back and forth with questions like, what kind of lining do you want for the hoodie? What kind of stitching do you want? Some fabric details for some of the fabrics that I had missed, because at this point I had some of the fabrics, but some of the fabrics I was unsure. So I was just to her, okay, if you can source some of these, then that would be great. So all things like that, she was asking me details, and those are all things that you will find in a tech pack, you will have written in a tech pack. If I had just made a tech pack, then she wouldn't have needed to have asked me some of those questions. I'll link my tech pack template in the description as well. From knowing all this information, she was able to provide me with a quotation for producing some of the products in my collection, and that was back in November 2020. That is when I received the first quotation of how much this collection was going to cost me. Of course, I negotiated and I asked for her to reduce some of the costs on some of the products, which she was able to do. So always negotiate, don't ever just take that first price. So once I negotiated the price down, I then had to go away and decide whether it was something that I could afford, because of course manufacturing in Italy is expensive, and I had to be real with myself and think to myself, is this something you can afford? And the answer was, yeah, I'm gonna do it. The great thing about the manufacturer I work with is that her communication is second to none. So when you're deciding on what manufacturer to go for, please take that into account, that they need to have really good communication skills. So for my missing fabrics, she began sending like fabric swatches, fabric samples for me to have a look at, and from the samples she sent me, I decided to go for the tracksuit fabric and the hoodie fabric that she had sent me, and then I pretty much sourced the rest of the fabrics, which was, to be honest, if I think about it, it was 2 other fabrics. Initially, my hoodie design wasn't meant to be the hoodie that you see today. It was actually meant to have an all-over print similar to the Kai set. So I'll pop the Kai set up on the screen and I'll pop my hoodie design that I have now up on the screen. And basically it was meant to be that print all over the hoodie, but it was very difficult to find a printer that was willing to print that, because oh my goodness, so basically you'd have to get like a white fabric and then print black and then the print on top. So it was just really difficult. So I scrapped that design. Another design I scrapped was my jumpsuit design, which I am going to bring back, and that's simply because sourcing this trim that was going to go here, again I will pop the design on the screen, but sourcing the trim that was going to go there was again proving to be very difficult. So I also had to scrap that design. Sometimes you just got to make a decision and just be like, you know what, maybe it's not a design for right now, but we'll come back to it. Eventually we'll come back to those designs. In January of 2021, she signed my non-disclosure agreement. I know it was a little bit late, but at least I had that documentation just signed and just done. So the roadblocks continued. The next roadblock was Brexit and shipping, and yeah, my battery. So I'm going to change that. Okay, so the angle's changed a bit. Just had to change my battery. So as I was saying, the next roadblock was Brexit and shipping. Shipping between the UK and Italy was honestly, it was an absolute nightmare, because at that point I didn't really know about like customs and all the forms that I needed to fill in, and I feel like it was just incredibly excessive when it came to shipping to Italy. It was just delaying the whole process. Things were being sent back and then I would have to send them again. Although I had patterns, I was also sending like physical samples for her to base patterns off as well. So it was sending things like that and sending the fabrics from here. That whole like shipping nightmare just delayed my whole like sampling process, because this is the point that I was at this point, and I wanted to use these samples for a photo shoot because I wanted to be ahead of everything. And I think initially I wanted to have my photo shoot in March. I ended up having it in May due to all these delays. So I sent over my cotton, which I had sourced here, and my silk fabric as well. Whilst that was happening, my cousin had helped me find this amazing location to shoot the campaign for this collection. I wanted to shoot like an amazing campaign so that when I finally go online, people are like, ooh, you know, like I like impressed with like all the work that I'd put in. Initially, the shoot was meant to be in March, but it ended up happening in May. And my goodness, actually getting the samples in time for the shoot was a nightmare in itself. My manufacturer had to actually drive to the... Okay, so when I say manufacturer, I actually work with an agent who then deals with the actual like factories and manufacturing factories. So when I say manufacturer, that's what I mean. I should start really referring to her as an agent, but I'm just used to referring to her as a manufacturer. So she had to drive to the factory to actually collect my samples so that they can be sent to me on time for this shoot. And the shoot went incredibly well. I sourced my models on modelmanagement.com. I have a video where I talk about that as well. So I got them from there, and I think some of them on Instagram as well. And I set up a call with them and I was just like, this is the shoot, this is my idea behind the shoot, are you down? And I was was fortunate enough to have amazing models and everybody was down. The clothes that we used for the campaign were the samples, but after the shoot, I quickly realized that my samples needed some adjustments. Making those adjustments also takes time as well. I am now in like June and we're discussing making these adjustments and getting these samples and me like approving these samples. Also at that time, the custom shade of navy blue for my Hendrix tracksuit was also being produced, and that took quite a long time to create, and that was around that time too. So now it was kind of sort of like a waiting game, but at the same time I was still trying to source my silk fabric, and my goodness, that silk fabric was honestly the bane of my existence. Like at one point I wasn't even gonna use silk anymore. I was like, F it, let me use polyester, but I was like, no, this is supposed to be like high end, don't want to use polyester. So I went back to wanting to use silk, and then at some point I was going to use viscose, and I quite liked viscose, but then the viscose sample that I got was it wasn't quite there yet, and then I went back to silk and I was like, I'm going to use silk. Sourcing that silk took me like a good 3 months to finally get it to where I wanted to be. At the same time, I was also editing the pattern that I wanted, so it was a printed pattern, so it's the Kai set, but the Kai set didn't look like that when we first started. I hope I can like put in some pictures of what it was gonna look like to what it actually looks like. I really hope you don't prefer like the other version of it, but I much preferred the one that we ended up coming out with. So like in the meantime, I was still adjusting like the style of the pattern on the print while still deciding what silk I was gonna use and making sure the print was nice. Oh gosh, it was a lot, and that took a lot of time. During this period, I also feel like time just evaporated, because before I knew it, we were in September and my collection was just nowhere near like ready, and I knew at this point that I wanted to do the pop-up. The place that I wanted to do the pop-up was only available in November on the 6th, which is when I had it, so I just knew that everything needed to be ready, which brought me to manufacturing my silk sets in the UK in the end, because my manufacturer in Italy quickly then told me that, oh, by the time you send that silk fabric here and then I send it to the factory, it's not gonna get back to you in time. So I was like, okay, cool. I accepted that. I took it in. I was like, what can I do? And I was like, let me go to the UK manufacturer that I'd visited maybe like a year ago, and I'm gonna get them to just make this silk set. And I'm really, really happy I made that decision, because now I've got a relationship with the UK manufacturer if ever I need anything made in the UK, and they managed to make those silk sets in a week, which was insane. I was like, wow, you lot have really saved me. But whilst that was happening, I had to take a trip to Italy to collect my tracksuits because they weren't gonna arrive on time. My t-shirts and my hoodies had already arrived in the country, and I sent my hoodies to be embroidered by a company called Custom Lab. I will link them down below. And then I sent over my t-shirts to be DGT printed by a company in Cheshire. Whilst that was all happening, I'm like in Italy. I went to Italy for like one day to collect the tracksuits, and then when I got back, I had to send those tracksuits over to be embroidered by this company, Custom Lab, as well. So it was all a bit like, it was hectic, but I managed to get it all done, and we managed to have our pop-up on Oxford Street on the 6th of November with the full collection there ready. It's not easy. It's not easy out here. Like, it's the trenches. Like, I can't even lie, it's not easy. And then also at the same time, I was then trying to rebuild my online presence, like create a buzz around the brand, and to put together my social media calendar, which is actually still on my wall, and just get everything ready for the pop-up and the launch. So following the pop-up, which was really successful, again, I've got a video on that, I'll link it if I remember. From that point on, there was no sleep. Now we had to work out like launching online. So I sent one of each garment off to a flat lay photographer, and they took the photos, edited them for me to upload them onto the website how you see them. I had a photo shoot, and the photo shoot was literally like 2 days before launch. I think we finished shooting in like 3 hours, which is unlike me. me, usually been run over, and then I had to like stay up for the next 2 nights just editing the pictures, getting everything online, just making my website look exactly how I wanted to look like. Whilst all of this was going on in the background, I was also working on the website. There was a lot going on. There was no sleep happening. I was delirious. But we finally got to launch day. On the day of launch, I created the email campaigns, and I even forgot the launch video. That was a nightmare in itself, guys. So much went wrong. So the launch video, I had to drive to, I can't remember what area it was, but it was an hour away from where I live, to get a hard drive which had all the footage on there so that I could edit this launch video. And I had to edit it within like 2 days using Adobe Premiere Pro, because the way my videographer had filmed it was in a format that can't be edited on iMovie, and I am not well versed with Premiere Pro, so I'm learning at the same time as editing, so that was a lot. And the reason why I had to drive was because I had all the footage on my hard drive, but silly old Taddy dropped her hard drive on the floor and it stopped working. And honestly, I laughed, because if I didn't laugh, I would have cried. And fortunately, my videographer had backup copies of the footage, so I drove to his to collect the hard drive so I could come back and edit the content and try and get it ready for the live launch. The launch went well. The video was great. I managed to launch the collection, and now we're here. The whole process took just over a year. But yeah, that was the process of me creating my collection, going from conception to a launch. Definitely happy with the way everything panned out. Guys, please don't forget to check out Anna Money. Like I said, the link will be in my description. And I really hope that this video has been nice to watch. You've picked up a few things. And yeah, I will catch you guys in my very next video. Bye.